Welcome everybody to Brambleberry Cottage. We wanted to give you an idea of what we're doing this week. While we're sitting here, you can see we have some iced tea and lemonade that Paul made so graciously this week.
I'm cool like that.
He's cool like that. Our beautiful snowball bushes from our garden. We like to clip flowers at this time of year.
Finally blooming.
Yes, finally blooming. We weren't sure this year. The heat has been really rough on our flowers and our plants, but there are still some things in our yard and our garden that have survived the heat wave, this really rough heat that we're having. I have been recovering from a surgery, so I haven't been on the videos as much, so I thought I'd sit here and talk to you so you can see that I'm still here. I've just been resting. Paul has been hard at work for a couple of weeks doing a lot of projects around the garden. One of the things we've done this week, or we, meaning Paul, have done this week has been cleaning out our shed. Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Not much to say, but it was a big mess.
Yes.
And it needed an overhaul. And I'm kind of a pack rat, so Gina helped me with some. My plan was to take everything out, organize it, and put it all back. And Gina helped me rearrange things from a design perspective, rearrange things in there, put a coat of paint on it, brighten things up. And I've actually found things in the shed that I forgot that I had, so it was really refreshing. And I kind of organized things in a way where everything is close at hand, plenty of room to work. I'm really happy with the result. And I know that without your input, it wouldn't have come out.
Paul likes to save everything.
I'm a pack rat.
And I have to admit, in front of Paul, I have to admit finally that it's funny because he literally saves the most ridiculous things. But I have to admit that sometimes that really comes in handy. There are some really random projects that we'll do, and he'll say, I have just the thing. And he'll pull out this very bizarre plastic piece or piece of wire or fencing or whatever, and I'll think this teeny little thing sometimes, or it's a little portion of a fence or something. You think it's so crazy that he's saving this. It really does come in handy.
Yeah.
But anyway, when he says to see a design perspective, please keep in mind this is not. This is all done on a budget. So obviously there are a lot of things that I would love to do, and I could do if budget was unlimited. So on the budget we went through the paints that we already have on hand, mixed some together that were pretty much the same hue, mixed them together, some a little darker than others, and it brightened up the space.
Kind of off-white, really, once we mixed it together, but did the job. The paints were just sitting there for years. So.
And I was going to say that you go through those paints that you would have normally had to throw out after a while. Sometimes they get rusty, sometimes they get thick, or they just maybe change color a little bit. Maybe there's a little oil that kind of sits at the top. Sometimes it's just time to get rid of them, and we don't save them like we used to. There are times where we would waste money saving paint. So after a couple years, you really have to go through your paints and maybe throw them out.
Or use them.
Or use them. And in this case, we were at that point where we needed to use them up or throw them out, and they were still in great shape. Otherwise, we wouldn't have used them. You definitely want to give it a good stir and stir all the colors together if you decide to do that. And for projects like that, you can do that. You don't want to mix colors together if you're painting a room or a cabinet, a piece of furniture in your home. I wouldn't. But anyway, so the inside of the shed was painted. You painted the inside of the door. You did discover there was some water damage, so we had to deal with that first.
A little bit of mold. I had to clean it up. Respirator, some peroxide, cleaned it up, painted. Also, the paint was also a protectant, kind of protect the wood. So I'm glad we did that in the shed. So yeah, we didn't spend any money on the shed. We do.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We will eventually get some organizational systems, maybe some random hooks or things that we can hang stuff on or put things in, maybe organize dividers that we can put inside the drawer. We have a dresser in there that we haven't touched yet. It was just not enough time this week.
Right.
But it's a random dresser that you picked up on the side of the road. It you know, organizes things, but
it's well made, dovetail joints, but it's falling apart. It needs some work, needs some love. So planning on, you know, fixing what needs to be fixed, maybe redoing what it looks like, and organizing the drawers. I've got it's kind of a catch-all right now. I kind of dump whatever, I'm not sure what I'm going to use or where I'm going to put it. I just dump it in the drawers for now. But I'm planning on getting that all organized out. Maybe in a few weeks we'll get that taken care of.
that would be nice.
So,
Also, just moving things around in a different order can give you a different perspective. I do that a lot with my home. A lot of people will come over and kind of laugh and say, oh, something's different. Something's always different. You get tired a lot of the same furniture and the same positions. You can't always afford to keep changing your furniture, and it's not very ethical either to keep doing that and wasting money. And sometimes if you buy really good pieces, it's really nice to keep them and just maybe paint them up or sand them down to the original wood, or
just rearrange them.
And I like to do that often. We change every so many years. Your design style changes. You know, sometimes you like a certain style, and 5 years later you may completely change your style. And honestly, you can't keep changing things. Paint is a great way to change your room. In the shed, it was just was that T111? What is that called? T111. It's just plain wood.
Plywood.
Yes, and it was unprotected, and it did get wet. It's not insulated. It's not a home, so obviously there are things in there that can easily get wet and ruined. So the best thing to do is maybe sand it down, clean it up with a special cleaner, let it dry, and then paint to protect it. And that's just what we did. I will say, while we're talking about that, as we're nonchalantly, casually speaking about this, I don't take that lightly. Mold is very, very serious.
Yeah.
So you really do have to. In the shed, we left the door open, we ventilated it well. A respirator mask, special gloves, all kinds of things, even goggles if you have to. The clothes that you're wearing will have to be washed separately, laundered separately. Please know that if it's beyond just a simple little spot here and there of mold, and ours was that. If it is beyond that, it's climbing up the wall, and it's really a scary black mold, you will know the difference, and it will be a very strong smell. It will show black all over the wall. Possibly it'll get a little fuzzy. Something like that you just don't want to tackle on your own. It's just best to call the professionals.
Yeah.
Right. In this case, we were very lucky. It was very simple, and Paul was very careful, and then after washed everything and cleaned up his equipment, cleaned himself, laundered his clothes separately, just so you know. We just want to make sure you understand that you just don't go in and just start cleaning off mold. Mold is very serious. If it gets in your lungs, it can be fatal at times. So you don't want to mess around with that. So we did that, and we want to go back and reorganize a little better later. But for now, it was a nice start. It was rearranged. There's more space now. It looks bigger.
A ton more space. I got rid of some stuff that was just hanging around. So
yes, and like he said, he discovered some things. He does that a lot. He discovers things he forgets about and doesn't realize we have. So that's nice too. It's always like a little surprise. And then you did what after the shed?
Well, we built a little patio. You had been wanting a little sitting area in our secret garden for quite some time. And we had that form that we used for our foundation faux stone treatment that we ended up using for faux stone patio. We gave it a shot, our first time using it for that, and it came out pretty nice.
It came out great. You'll see the footage. I don't know if you'll get to see like we can in person. It really, really turned out great. It's a special kind of cement, right? It has some
regular high test, high strength concrete.
Oh, okay
Chalk,
then.
regular bag of Quikrete, $4 a bag, 60-pound bags.
And the great thing is we had a couple bags laying around. We also had, when we did the faux stone on the side foundation, on the bottom of the foundation of our home, we had a random bag of that left over, so Paul returned that and was able to use the money to just get more cement. Concrete, excuse me. And the thing is, we thought with what we had, let's keep it at that because we didn't know if we'd like it, if it would come out all right. It came out great.
So we're going to expand.
And now we know we can expand, yes. And we are. That's an area of the garden that just never does well with the grass. And we've always wanted to have some sort of a deck or a patio or something over there. And now it looks really cute. I will eventually purchase some furniture, but again, we didn't know how any of this would turn out. We're on a budget right now, so it's something through the years we will invest in. So we had taken the bench from, if you had seen in our earlier videos, we had a video about around the fire pit, and Paul had made a bench years ago. He's very good at making benches and different designs too, which is great. He's a handy guy to have around. So that bench worked well around the fire pit, but we like just the chairs around there now, and the bench moved over to our little side garden, which we call our secret garden, where the patio was made. We'll be extending it a little further. It fits just enough for the bench, but we want to go a little further, and we will show you as time goes on the developments through every part of our yard, but especially that spot there. That's going to be probably one of my new favorite spots. It gets quite sunny there, so we may add an umbrella, an offset umbrella one of these days, but for now it's been really nice even at certain times of the day, you know, to go there early in the morning, early, you know, late in the evening. It's just a nice spot. Maybe some lights will hang from there, some string lights. It'll be really pretty.
Right.
We will be in future videos showing you different parts of our garden that we'll be working on a little at a time. And that was just kind of a quick thought, like, gee, maybe if we put something in that corner of the garden. So it was kind of an afterthought. So you will see that. It's not really planned, but now we know we want to expand it.
It was a very easy project, very quick, not much preparation. Yeah, highly recommend it for beginners. Yeah, it worked out very nice.
It did, and it looks great. So we want to say welcome again to Brambleberry Cottage. We hope you're enjoying our videos. We've been enjoying doing this very much.
Yeah.
And we hope you have a great day.
Cheers. It is about time I clean out my shed. I try to do it once a year, take everything out, reorganize, whatnot. However, this has gotten to a ridiculous level. I've got so much stuff in here, too much for this little shed. Half of which I probably don't need anymore, so it's time for a good clean out. I get in the habit of doing projects and not putting things away when I'm done because I'm into another project. I've got this old red bureau back here that I picked up this side of the road one day. It needs a ton of work. I've got a bunch of junk in it, but I think I'm going to do some refinishing on that too and spruce it up. As you can see, every nook and cranny has been packed. We had some mice living in here under the shelves. So this is the bureau we're going to be refinishing and reorganizing. It's a big mess. Inside, missing some knobs, there's some holes in it. Some of the drawers have holes, so it's going to take some doing. But hopefully when we're done, it'll look nice. When this floor was reinforced, some gaps were left between some of the studs. So what we did today was we filled in those gaps with some scrap lumber. Same for the floor. Okay, so I put a coat of stain on the floor. Now I'm going to, just to freshen it up in here, put a coat of paint on the walls. I'm going to take a bunch of old cans of paint we've had lying around, mix them all together, and put them on the wall, whatever we come up with. So I mix all these cans together and come up with an off-white. This is the corner of our yard where we'd like to put a small seating area. It's kind of an unused portion near our raspberry bushes. So I'm going to use this form, put a little concrete patio in. Same form we use on our foundations. So put the faux stone look there. We're going to put a faux stone patio here, just using bags of concrete, and put our bench over here to give us a place to sit. So here we go.
don't know if it captures everything on film, but this is such a nice look to it. Hope it captures it here in the video. I love the look of this. You can see the stones individually emerging, especially with the sand in between. I love this.
We started off with such a small area, so we weren't sure if we'd like it. But I think it looks nice, and I think we'll probably expand.
I do too.
Over the next few weeks, we'll build it out as we go. Now each square, each form, took about one 60-pound bag of concrete. So this here was 6.5 bags of the concrete.
In this small, what size would you say this is about?
6 by 4 or something like that.
Okay, and obviously we want it to be much bigger, but we didn't know how much it would hold. We didn't know if we'd like it. And now seeing it all come together, and it's still, I would think, reasonably affordable.
It really is. It's $4 per bag of the concrete for a 60-pound bag. So, yeah, not bad at all.
No, and I really love the look of it. I'm hoping that it's capturing this on film. It's so hard because it's so sunny and so hot outside today. It's hard to see with the shadow of the raspberry bush in here, but that's right, just so you can get a glimpse. I really like it though. It really is an authentic looking stone. I suppose you could paint the stone if you wanted it to be a little bit more individual, but I like the gray.
And they have dyes that you can mix in with the concrete also.
I didn't know that.
They do.
That would be really nice too, I suppose. But I do like the gray personally. Yeah. There's more to do here in this corner. We don't get a lot of grass lasting and staying green here. For some reason it just doesn't grow well here, or it doesn't stay green enough here. And I would imagine it has to do with the intense sun that we get all throughout the day. We can't stay on top of it all the time watering it. And it's very close to the house, so even watering it, you'd hate to get water on the house too much where it would cause mold maybe. So we're very cautious here, but this would be a great spot for it, and early in the morning and at certain times of the year and in the evening it gets very shady here, which is a pretty spot to hang out. This we call our secret garden. And we just thought it would be a nice little corner stone area where grass doesn't grow well here anyway. We're probably going to buy furniture down the road, but for now, if you remember that bench by our fire pit, we decided to move over here.
So very shortly we're going to place the bench over onto the new patio.
Yes. Also, just to give you a quick look, that stone that we were doing on the foundation, Paul had finished.
It's only been primed, hasn't been painted.
It's only been primed. We haven't finished it, but we're slowly working on little parts of the garden, little by little. Here's where our side garden is at this point. Not everything did so well this year, but we still have some of our rhubarb that's bolting now. This is a fertilizer plant right here that helps fertilize the garden. You cut it down when it gets really large and you lay it down, and it helps with the nutrients. Unfortunately, the woodchuck that we've been getting has been getting into it, but we'd rather it eat that than any of our other things, which it has also eaten. But we have some of our tomatoes. Our son had grabbed 3 pieces of PVC pipe and made like a triangular formation and tie them together and kind of
hammered them into the ground a little bit, and we were able to let the tomatoes climb up them. Instead of a traditional tomato cage, sometimes this works better. We have tons of mint growing and taking over a little bit, but it is quite pretty. It's green, it flowers, it looks pretty, and it smells remarkable, especially when you brush up against it. And we use mint for so many things in the summer. So we're going to move that bench over in a few. For now, it's just the right size for the bench, but we want to expand it even further now that we know what it looks like. Would you say this was an easy project, Paul?
Extremely easy.
Okay. And this was done yesterday, correct?
Yeah.
So really a day later. We're late morning right now, and he started that mid-afternoon. So it's not even, well, no, it is. No, it's not. It's not even 24 hours later, and it's cured enough to put furniture on it and put sand around it. They do recommend watering it down for 5 days.
5-day moist and cure, I think they call it, damp cure. But I figured because they're individual stones, I didn't want to, I watered it down a little bit. It seems solid enough.
Okay, we may want to water it down though for a few days, just to do what it tells you to do. It's always good to listen to the instructions, but you just get an idea of what's going on here now. Hopefully this will assure the woodchuck cannot get to it, as we have Fort Knox around our sunflowers here. It's good to have little pieces of this fencing and wooden stakes around, so you can resolve situations like this when they come up. Hopefully this does the trick. Woodchuck, stay away, please.